Good evening, everybody. Lovely to see you all here. Thank you very much for coming. And thanks, obviously, for the invitation to come and join and talk about this really interesting topic. My name is James Drury. I am the Special Projects Editor at IQ Magazine, the live music industry Bible, if you will. And today we're going to be talking about data versus gut. We're going to be looking at navigating analytics and instinct in artist selection and booking. Now, the arrival of large language models like ChatGPT and Claude have been revolutionizing how we all work, I think, depending on how much you use it or not. I think it's really going to certainly transforming the way that everybody works now and will have a huge impact on the way we all work in the future. But data has long been a part of bookers' toolkits for many, many years before those models were released. So we're going to dig a bit into what data sources festival bookers use, if they do, what role that plays against their professional instincts or alongside their professional instincts, and what the future of this very exciting confluence of data and human instinct looks like. And I'm joined, as Jen said, by a very esteemed panel. All the way over there on the far distance is James Miner, who's Vice President of South by Southwest from the USA. Next to him, the fantastic Cindy Castillo, Deputy Director of Mad Cool Festival in Spain. And then we have Pavla Slivova, sorry. Okay. Head of Booking and Artist Liaison at Colours of Ostrava in the Czech Republic. Virag Csiszar, Head of International Booking at Sziget in Hungary. And Miro, who is the Executive Head of Booking at Exit in Serbia. So, I want to open with a kind of very broad question to all of you. When you're booking artists for your festivals, do you rely more on data or instinct? And has that balance shifted over time? James, let's start with you as you're the furthest away from me.
All right. For us, I mean, it definitely is instinct. We use data as kind of more of a reference. I mean, I'll tell you that there are little things that we'll look for, like if we see obviously inflated numbers, that's a big turnoff.
And when you say inflated numbers, are we talking like Spotify streams, or are you talking like tickets? Like what's?
For me, it's more streaming and social media numbers. Yeah, I mean, when we're looking at artists for South by Southwest, the main thing that we're looking for are acts that we feel are actually going to benefit from being at our event, because it's a music industry focused event. And if artists aren't making connections, getting something out of being there, then it's not really doing its job. So it's more about that than actual draw, which is probably a little different than some of other folks here.
Cindy, how about you? Are you data or gut?
Fully gut.
Fully gut. Why?
Well, I think I feel like I keep on saying this in every conference I go, but it's the same thing always. In the end, music is an emotional business, is my phrase, and because of that, emotions are unexpected, and you never really know how they're going to connect. So for me, it's definitely gut. Data helps, of course, to prove or to certify in some way what you probably already know that is happening, because you can feel it. It's about energy, feeling it, seeing how people react to the music, the artist, the show. So definitely, I am, gut.
Pavla?
I think for me, it's like a constant dance between the two of them. Data helps, but it's always being gut. It's always great to go out there, see the band, see the crowd, see how they react, how the artist connects. So this is something that is not delivered by data, especially when it's a young artist or a fresh artist, because you can't tell. It might be trending on TikTok or, have a lot of listeners on Spotify. But if they are not been out there and you've not seen them to perform yet and see the vibe, So I think it's got, on the other hand, the data is not just Spotify or YouTube charts, it's also ticket sales. So that tells you a lot too, I would say. So this is all connected, I would say, for us.
Thank you. Vera?
I think I'm kind of in the middle as well. And I think it depends a lot on the level of the artist as well. I think it's especially important to look at the data points when we look at like big headliners, where we spend a lot of money and we just can't afford to rely on our instincts at a certain level. While when we look at like up and coming artists for the festival, I go to a lot of showcase events. I see a lot of new artists. I hear about new artists from agents and friends. So that helps as well. And we don't really need to rely on data on those bookings. But I think after a certain point and with big headliners, I think it's really important to back up the instincts and the gut feelings.
Great.
Yeah, as the colleague said, you kind of need to rely on basically both. Having in mind that we are doing a festival in Serbia, every single slot on the two main stages is significant. So basically, you need to rely on your gut, but you need to do all the homework in statistics. So you are. In the end, yet you know that you made a right choice, you made the right decision. But if the gut is there, if you're like feeling the music and the sound and everything, and if it's backed with data, then you know that you did the right choice. Basically, yeah, you placed the right artist in the right time frame in the right slot.
And can you tell us a bit about what sources of data you use and exactly how you use them? Like, how much weight do you put on social, for example, or do you have like do you have a program that does the analysis for you?
I don't think that exists yet. I tried to find it, and I tried to make it myself on ChatGPT with certain tools, but for the time being, I didn't find it. But in the end, we use a lot of analytics of the social media as well. And we do surveys every single year at the festival and after the festival on who our audience is willing to see every single year and the next year as well. But basically, when we talk about the analytics, it's just around half of the decision-making process. The other one is the gut and if the entire team, because our team is around like 7 or 8 people, so it needs to be in order to get on one of the stages. In the end, it needs to be like sort of a unanimous decision, and it needs to be backed up by the analytics, by the certain gut. That in the end it will be beneficial for basically everybody, for the festival, for the audience, and for the artist himself. Because sometimes you see that the artists, when they play the dance arena or the main stage at Sziget Festival, they level up, significantly. So it needs to be beneficial for basically everybody.
Yeah, and Virag, you said that. You, particularly when it comes to the more expensive artists, the topper end of the top end of the bill, you're more likely to bring some data to bear on that decision. Is there like a specific cutoff point, like below, I don't know, 50,000 euros? You don't apply the data, or like, can you talk us through a bit about when you decide to really bring that element in?
No, it's not the point. I think it's mainly about like trying to collect some bits and pieces from different platforms, and either if it's chart metric or social numbers or followings on TikTok or Instagram or Spotify or whatever. I think the most important data for us also the polling that we do at the festival, and after the festival, like at the beginning of the booking cycle, we always ask the audience who they would like to see the following year, and the trends and like hypes around certain artists are really like interesting to see when an artist grows so much. And like I always feel like I can I can somehow tell who would be in the top 10 of the results of our polling, but that's never the case because we always have a lot of surprises there. And especially this year, I think it keeps like changing a lot and moving so fast that usually we were trying to book like big headliners for the festival for years, and then it happened after years when we saw the constant like results, like good results of our polling of certain artists. But then this year, I think there were two headliners that we booked for the festival, Chaperone and Billie Eilish, who weren't even on the poll at the time when we did the first one because they weren't on headline level. And then they just grew so fast that we felt like we obviously need to book them for the festival if they are available. So it changes a lot, I think, but I think we need to rely on data. Yeah.
Thank you. And Pavla, can you tell us a bit about how that works from your perspective as well, that kind of combination of data and, I guess, instinct?
Yeah. To start with, I want to say that we rely on data, we check them, but in our team, it's 3 generations constantly fighting and discussing, which helps a lot. You know, our boss is 60 plus, I'm middle age, and we get someone from Gen Z. So it's amazing how different generations view things. And it really helps, you know, to be open-minded and to respect, I'm not going to say the elders, but, you know, to respect someone with the old school opinion, old school in a in a good way. So it's always, for us, it's very dynamic process of trying to evaluate which artist is the best one. And also not just looking at the numbers helps, because you need to see the audience behind. Someone gets really good numbers, but then you realize that it's, 13-year-old kids that will not come to the festival. You wish that will come with their parents, but it's, some of the audiences are too young and they give you the numbers in, I don't know, Spotify or YouTube charts, but still, I think it's so complex for us, and Czech Republic is quite small market. So if you want to know if something's gonna really work, draw the attention of the crowds, you can have a look on how they're doing during the headline shows. If it's already an established act, which already also helps.
And how do you decide which numbers, which statistics you're getting from Spotify or socials or wherever? How do you know which ones to trust, or how to filter out, I guess, bad data, or not useful data, not bad data?
I think one thing is, if you're looking at Spotify, if you see like a high streaming number, and see if that's actually translating into people following that.
Following, yeah.
Yeah. It's a big one.
Exactly.
To put it in simple words, if she has 2 chickens and I have 0 chickens, data will say we have an average of 1 chicken per person.
True.
Yeah.
Okay? So, but that is not true. She has 2 and I have none. So this is the same with data. But once again, I'm a fully God person. Let's remember that, okay? I can't trust really all this information can give me a hint and can be a reference, as James said. But the truth is that I might have artists that have millions of streams on Spotify because they are in 10 big playlists, which means their songs are being played in 1,000 bars all over the world, but no one is listening. I might have artists that sell loads of tickets in the UK and actually sell 0 in Spain. I might go to Chartmetric, or I might go to Instagram and have X artist that is right now one of the most famous in the world. And the truth is that maybe my audience doesn't connect with them, because in the end, it's about so many things, okay, that shape your audience, which are social factors, cultural factors, trending factors, whatever thing is happening in your territory. So how to trust that data? I think no one can say maybe now one of you says the opposite, but I'm just saying this because I know James liked the conflict in the panels, you know. So I say no one can really say that you can trust fully data 100%. I think it's just a reference. It's just a way of obviously trying to find a knowledge, but the truth is that in the end, the knowledge depends on so many things that you need to have them all in mind together. And all these things are, as I said, emotional, social, trending, generational, social media, Spotify, for of course,
Cultural as well.
cultural things that are
History
happening.
numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose obviously what it really comes down to, is, especially above all of this, is the fact that you guys have a deep and ingrained understanding of your festival and its spirit as a whole, right? And you need to ensure that what you're bringing matches that. And
Needs to resonate, yeah.
Even if the numbers might tell you a great thing, but if it's not the right act that fulfills that kind of holistic spirit of the festival, then it's not going to work, right?
I have right now an artist that sells probably, I don't know, 80,000 tickets in the UK. I make a post in our socials about this artist and no one knows who he is. I have other artists that have a lot of interaction and engagement in socials, but people only know one song. Are they really going to pay 200, 300 euros for a person that they only know one song of? So, it's a bit of mess.
Yeah, each and every time you have to be like, you need to find a balance in order to satisfy the ticket sales and the level of your lineup being fresh.
Yeah.
So we also have a lot of artists that are working immensely on the UK market, but in the Balkans, just they have zero presence over there. And that's the one thing that you just need to take into consideration when you're like programming, especially what I just said, that every single slot needs to have a meaning and be fulfilling for both us, the audience, and the artist. So it is extremely difficult for us to decide whether we are going to go with the artist that is blowing up somewhere else just because it's blowing up somewhere else. It needs to have a presence on our market to at least some sort of level in order for us to, we will check it out and discuss about it and eventually book it.
So moving away from data a little bit, moving more towards your kind of instinct and your own professional skills with your gut, as it were. How do you keep your instincts sharp? How do you make sure that you are in touch with what your audience wants, right? Because you can book something you love, but it needs to reflect what the festival needs. Virag, how do you stay sharp from an instinct point of view?
I think I'm quite lucky because Sziget is a very international event, and it's a bit difficult on the other hand because the Hungarian market is also really small, and we sell 6 days passes, 3 days passes, and day tickets for the festival. And usually we sell all the day tickets to Hungarians, and international people are coming for more days. We need to get the lineup right because I think Hungarians tend to be quite late with trends, and we need to find the right headliners to attract them in with like one day tickets for the show. But the whole package needs to be really appealing for the international crowd as well. So we look at our key markets where the people are coming from and their favorite artists as well. And I think I was thinking while you were answering the last question, I think it's really hard to find that balance, and when you get it right with an artist who's really fresh and trending, and you can't really tell because it's tricky when your audience and your
they accept it,
you don't really know if they will accept the artist as a headliner or not. Although the artist can be a headliner in the UK or in the US already. But if you get it right, it's really rewarding. So I think that's
fulfilling.
It's really fulfilling, and it's really good to rely on like many different data points, factors, your instinct, and the things you hear from like your friends and agents, and like all the pieces from like different parts of the world. And when they are aligned, then you know it's going to be the right decision. But you never know 100%.
Yeah, you must have
Until it happens.
you must have a particularly unique challenge because am I right in thinking is it 75% of your audience is from outside of Hungary?
I
Is it,
would
or
say
60,
it's around 50-50.
50-50 now, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
But you have hundreds of different nationalities coming, right?
Yes, we have a lot of people from the neighboring countries, from the UK, Germany, France, Netherlands, Belgium, so all over.
Yeah, it's quite a challenging audience mix, I guess. Yeah. Cindy, how do you keep your instincts sharp?
It's a good question. No, well, I think it's about just being there, being out there constantly, and being curious and being interested and passionate about it, and just listening to as much as you can, going as many shows as you can, and understanding what's happening out there in every generation. Let's say it like that, I think if you're out there, you will just keep yourself sharp because you're going to see what's happening. You're going to see the reaction of the people. You're going to see what people are interested in now, what they don't like anymore, what they prefer now, in all these things. I think it's just about that.
And James, South by Southwest is quite a unique proposition as well, right? So
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's definitely going to other showcase events and listening to the younger people on staff, always asking their opinion, trying to involve them.
I'm going to ask a slightly provocative question. How do you ensure that listening to your gut hasn't led you to a situation where you've just got into your own echo chamber? Is there a risk that by only listening to your own instinct, you're maybe negating other opinions or other? You did mention listening to the younger people in your team. Is there? How do you mitigate for that? Is that casting a broad net?
I mean, for us, we're kind of in a privileged position because we have so many acts that we can invite. Yeah, there's a little more kind of room to play sometimes. Yeah, it actually just kind of sometimes when to kind of like let things just go, and sometimes you feel strongly enough that you're going to take a chance. But yeah, I mean we have 1,100 acts performing, so that's a little different situation.
Yeah.
I think. What do I think? My thought just flew away. Wait a second. No. I think when you've been in this business for a long time, you can't really be in your own echo chamber, as you would call it, because even if you don't like something, you have learned to appreciate the creativeness and the
vibe
and the art. Okay, and you have learned how to appreciate how it connects and how it's just something important. I don't like whatever. I hate reggaeton. I can't stand it. I would never buy a ticket to Bad Bunny because I just don't understand it. But I appreciate that he's changing something and he's doing something and he connects. So I think it's difficult. It can happen that you are in your own echo chamber thinking, no, this is the only thing. But I think it's difficult because you have learned to appreciate all those things.
Yeah, if it has a certain vibe to it, in the end, it's all about the people, the audience is going to be happy. But even though if us as program managers and selectors and bookers, if we don't like it, but if we see that people are enjoying it and just being present, they're not on their phones. At least they're not on their phones when the music is on. They're just recording it. You want to be there, but they're also jumping. They're all enjoying it. They're gonna talk afterwards about it. If it's not your cup of tea, it's not yours, but it's somebody else's. But if it's like 10,000 other people, to some degree, it's gonna be yours eventually.
Yeah. Virag.
I think even if we deny looking at any data points, we can't really do that or avoid that, because there are so many different factors coming in, like speaking to many people. I think you just cannot avoid it. So even if I want to stay in my head and and book like a certain genre or type of artist I like, I can't really do that, because we get so many influence from different people and
Yeah, I don't
different
think we will.
festivals we go to.
We won't be here if we like be an oral bubble. I don't think we will be like in this position to just justify ourselves. Just because we like something, somebody else needs to know. It needs to be mutually agreed.
Now, I mean, you've all talked very much about. I mean, you're all very experienced people who know what you're doing. You've got many years of experience, and so you've talked about your ability to understand and make that judgment. I guess from a position of having lots of experience. But what advice would you give to somebody who maybe just be starting out in the industry, who doesn't have your level of experience? Like, what do you need to look for when trying to make these decisions, Pavla?
I think you can never get really comfortable. You have to be always sharp and open-minded, and you have to constantly question yourself. I mean, it's a great job. It's lovely, you know, you're doing something that you're really passionate about, but it's a hard one. You know, it's not that easy, you know, to get it. So you have to, you know, just not book what you like, but really think about it as a complex of things. So for me, it's, you know, being constantly open-minded, being out there, asking people, being humble. You can never get to, you know, I know it all already, you know, been there, done that, yeah. I'm too experienced to, so always be down to earth. It's really important, I think. And listen to people, listen to young generations, because this is the audience that is coming to your festival or will come in a few years. So it's really important, yeah.
James?
I mean, don't be afraid to take chances. You're going to make mistakes. As long as you learn from them, that's okay.
It's pretty scary making a mistake, right? Especially if you're just starting out. But actually, you know, it's not always the end of the world, right?
Yeah.
Cindy?
What can I
good
say?
advice?
Follow your gut.
Follow your gut.
I mean, follow your gut, and you know, yeah, it's all about that, and not feeling defeated, and understanding that you already have a no, so why not try things? You know, if it's all about trying, if it's all about keeping on doing things. If we wouldn't do a festival if we were happy listening to a no. You know, it's just, I already have a no, I'm gonna try this. If it's a no, okay, I'll try another one, another thing. So it's all about persistence and following your gut. Data is not the solution.
Thank you.
If data was a solution, I would be in Croatia, but out there in a yacht, you know, not here. Yeah, so.
Do any of you use AI or large language models or algorithms to help you make decisions or research stuff or in your day-to-day job? Nope. Cindy?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
But
How do you
I never ask, you know,
Who should I book for my festival?
No. I would never ask her. I tell her. But it's actually, I went to South by this year for the first time, and I've went to so many panels about AI, and I got really scared that I'm going to fall behind. So I really started using ChatGPT, but it just helps me if I have something in my head, or it's complicated email translating from Czech to English, describing really, really crazy topic. So I just prompt really well, and here we go. The email is here in a seconds. So I help it. It speeds me up. It's great. So yeah.
Virag, do you?
I use it many times as well, but more like it became part of my daily life somehow, and I'm not using it for obvious reasons, like in my job, like making decisions and stuff, but for like to
No one's going to admit to that anyway.
it's more for like summarizing stuff or comparing, I don't know, like I wouldn't say to artists, but like comparing data, for example, I think that's very, it's a useful tool, and to summarize like longer stuff and things like that. So I use it on a daily basis, but not necessarily for work.
How about you, Miro? Do you use?
Yeah, honestly, I started using it to kind of summarize what I wanted to say, and then I think I lost the sharpness of what I actually wanted to say. So I just broadened it up a little bit. No, I always checked it out afterwards, and it seems like it didn't like catch the glimpse of exactly what I wanted to say in my own way, even though I taught it a little bit at the beginning, like put all the necessary prompts and memory updates and everything. But in the end, it just doesn't do me. It can't copy me. Not to mention about the programming, the selection and everything. I might use it just to compare two of the acts, but not in a ticket sales or anything, just to see how best we can incorporate this or that act into our festival, into our lineup. But in the end, if it doesn't come from here, it's not gonna be that good, that fulfilling if some of us from the group didn't say, okay, guys, let's book this one. Why? Just because, trust me, I know it. It's a really, really nice music. It's good music. And then it backs up with some data. Perfect.
I did try once, to be honest, I put all the information in about the festival, and I tried it, like I asked ChatGPT to put together the perfect lineup for the festival, and even like with artist fees and stuff. And I think it didn't get it really well. It was a bit weird, but it was also like funny to see it, and how like how the perfect lineup would look.
Yeah,
like
but it collected all the info of your previous lineup, so he just, or she just wanted to make you as happy as possible, not as risky as possible. And even though that risk can be fulfilling in the end.
And also we have a lot of different elements at the show, which is not necessarily connected to music, but like all kinds of arts and theater, dance and stuff like that, which cannot be like repeated from like year after year. So it was a bit weird, but it was a funny way to explore.
Yeah, it's an interesting experiment to try out, right? Yeah. James, I think you said a hard no to that question. You don't use it.
No, I never even considered that. I mean, I use it to like reformat text and really boring stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can I just see a show of hands? Does anybody here use ChatGPT or a large language model in their day-to-day work? Has anybody used it to make booking decisions? It's very interesting. Thank you very much. I want to ask you all, can you see a future in which booking decisions, or some booking decisions, are being made by an AI, I want to call it loosely? Or is that...
I hope I don't see that.
No, GPT doesn't have a gut.
Exactly.
Pretty much sums it all up. ChatGPT doesn't have a gut. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. In a world where we might be using data, we might be using gut. How do you protect space for taking risks? Like, there might be times when the numbers are saying no, but you're thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened. It happened from my perspective last year. I heard a certain track on a certain album on a certain label, and I just thought, this is it. This is gonna be next. We have to bring this guy to the festival. And then I prepared a little. It wasn't a PowerPoint presentation, but I did like basically everything, explain it to the team why I feel this is like the best thing to do for us. And it took this artist like 6 months to basically explode after that. So yeah.
You were right and the numbers were wrong.
Sorry?
You were right and the numbers...
I was right, but at the moment the numbers weren't just there to justify him bringing him to the festival. But in 6 months, I also like noted every single of his accomplishments. It was like 20 of them in the 6 months. So it is fulfilling in the end, to be entirely honest.
I mean, there's also the aspect of just totally loving something, thinking that it's going to do well, and wanting to be part of helping it grow and, you know, being there on the ground floor.
Have you ever made a decision like that where you've gone with something that your heart was telling you that you wanted to book, that you loved, you thought it would work well, but it didn't? I mean, I'm sure there have been, but anything that particularly stands out in your mind? Everyone makes mistakes, right? Not mistakes. Decisions they didn't necessarily think would work out. You know what I mean?
I think it happened to us when we looked at the data, even with bigger artists, that the data did really well for a certain act, and then it didn't translate it into tickets at the festival. So it happened more times this way, I would say. But I think for me, it all comes down to like what is the level of risk we need to take, and like the financial risk we need to take. And even if we look at a headliner, it doesn't matter like how much money we spend on that artist. And I think when we spend a lot of money, we need to be 100% backed up by data. And when it's like an up-and-coming artist that we think could develop into a headliner position, then we can be a bit more open for those conversations.
It's justifiable in the end.
Yeah, it worked well for us in the past. For example, I think Dua Lipa was the one we booked as a headliner at the year when she already did like main stage slots, but she wasn't a closing artist, and Sziget was one of the first shows she did as a headliner, and she's really proud of that and speaking about it all the time, so that's really nice and rewarding. But I think it depends on like what is the level of risk there.
Pavla, how do you, have you ever made, have you gone with the data and regretted it?
We didn't go with the data. We went with the gut, and we were too fast. We booked Rosalia, and it just didn't happen for us. You know, she's just exploded 2 years afterwards. And seeing her show at Primavera a few years back, for me, it was like, yeah, I know what we booked. It was amazing. But it just didn't translate into tickets at all. And the same for us happened with Burna Boy. He was, you know, already huge in UK, and looking at this during, I don't know, July or, you know, early on for the next year, we were thinking, yeah, you know, this is gonna happen for us, you know, it's gonna be great, and it just didn't translate it into tickets at all. You know, people just didn't understand this is a headliner. And then he didn't even turn up, so that was a bad one. So yeah, but yeah, you made mistakes even with headliners. You know, Czech Republic is also, I think, slightly behind in some trends. Well,
do you have many international guests as well?
Not really. No. It's like 15%. So, but it's usually Slovakia, Polish audience, but we still want to take that risk, you know. We still we saw the show, we know it's great, and we want to deliver it to our audience. And even though it doesn't sell, the ticket is bad for the budget, but still, you know, you did your absolute best because you brought something that you feel so confident about, and then people get the experience and they have the memories and the vibe, and everything is great, you know. It translates to something amazing, but it's happening there for the people who bought the ticket, not for the huge crowds sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, certainly for me as a festival goer, I love to discover new artists at festivals. Like, it's the opportunity where you can really roam around and see stuff that you never heard of, what you never seen live before or whatever. And, you know, it's such a great opportunity to see that along with artists you already know and love and whatever have seen before. That's really the joy, the special magic of festivals, right? Cindy, how about you? Have you ever gone with your gut and regretted it?
I was actually thinking about this while you were all talking, but I don't think I have. For me, it's actually been the opposite. It's been more like I go with my gut and I go to the team and I say, we need to book this act. And then they all tell me, no, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes they even make me doubt. Very few times, because I'm very stubborn. But the summary of all the story is that now in my office, I hang in frames the replies that they all gave me of Dua Lipa, 21 Pilots, Lumineers, 1975. Like, there's all these bands that I said, I won't book them. And they all were like, nah, Cindy, but this is Boomer, or this is blah, blah, blah. And then they all went massive, so I have them all in my office hanging now.
I love that. Retribution.
Yes. I only said the bad examples, but we also have the good ones too, you know? We're not bad bookers.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a successful festival if you regularly. And
I
also,
think
it
it's a
sounds to
matter
me
of
like
time.
you were really ahead of the curve there, booking those artists before they really blew up, right? So,
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time, though. Most of the times, it's just like, for example, you were saying Rosalia. It's not really that it was a bad decision. It was just that it was not at the right time.
Yeah.
But eventually, probably, if you booked Rosalia now, she would sell a lot of tickets. Or, yeah, so...
Yeah, but at that certain moment, you gave your audience something they didn't expect, they didn't know they didn't need. So
exactly.
yeah, it's that moment that you thought up front for your audience. I think they can be like respectful for that.
Yeah, I think certainly at a time when festivals are facing increased competition from stadium shows, for example, for me, now is the time for festivals to really act more like cultural leaders and take your audience to brilliant music or brilliant artists, perhaps unexpectedly, which is what will make a festival stand out in competition with the big stadium shows, for example. So we're really running out of time, but does anybody have any questions for these super awesome people?
Please.
No? Yes, we've got one over there. Do we have a mic that we can run over? Or if not, just shout out who you are and where you're from and your question, please. Thank you.
Check. Hi, my name is Kofi. I run a grassroots platform in London called Levels. I just wanted to pose a question to all of you guys. Do you guys keep in touch with like the grassroots sector in your respective countries? Just listen to you guys speak. It's like maybe connecting with the grassroots maybe helps with bringing the culture a bit more, because I think it was James that was saying listening to the youth, and because they're going to be the next ones to be obviously charging the music that's going to be obviously powering everybody's platforms for years to come. So do you keep in touch with your grassroots platforms in your individual countries?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely do. Our event isn't like a big greenfield, where we operate in all those clubs. So we're in constant conversation with them. I have people on my staff who are in bands, and yeah, they're always going out as well. So the answer is yes.
Same here. I'm in constant touch with them for plenty of reasons. First, obviously, because I'm interested in seeing what's happening, but also because we do a lot of things during the year to make sure there's a cultural and music network all around the city. So that implies for us to be in touch with them and to, know what's happening there.
Yeah, the same for us. Definitely.
Yep.
Same here.
Yes, all round?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
No. Cool, thank you.
Cool. Any more for any more? Nope. Well, thank you all very much for your kind attention, and a huge thank you to the panel for their wonderful contributions today. So thank you, everybody.